Hello, my name is Noor Khoni'ah with name 22014210033. In this video, I want to address a deep issue that is racism against Black Americans or African American people. That discrimination faced by African American people is an ongoing problem that has persisted from the old days until now. Racism and discriminations occur due to the complex and long history. Why do white people consider themselves superior to black people? And in ancient times, for nearly 400 years, white people enslaved black people to work in plantation. This practice of slavery is become economic foundations in many regions of America, especially in southern states. There are also negative stereotypes about black people, African and American people, including the view that Africans Americans are a lower race, uncivilized, and they are suitable for slavery. There are discriminatory laws and policies used to reinforce racial differences, like Jim Crow laws, where the system was undergirded by the following beliefs or rationalizations, where white people were superior to black people in all important ways, including but not limited to intelligence, morality, and civilized behavior. Sexual relations between black people and white people would produce a mongrel race which would destroy the America. Treating black people as equal would encourage interracial sexual relations. If necessary, violence must be used to keep black people at the bottom of racial hierarchy. The Jim Crow laws were a set of laws that enforced racial segregation in various aspects of life, such as transportation, education, and public facilities between black people and white people. The examples of segregations in the old days and the modern days, like segregation in school, black children in the United States were not allowed to play with white children in schools. This was due to the practice of racial segregation that separated public facilities, including school. And then violence in the workplace, like black Americans often faced physical and psychological violence in the workplace. This was due to segregation practices that prevented them from getting the same job as white Americans. In fact, in 1932, about half of Black Americans lost their job because in some cities, white people demanded that African Americans be fired from any job as long as there were white people who had not yet found jobs. Another example of segregation is in dining establishment. In the old days until now, Black Americans were not allowed to eat restaurants operated by white Americans. And now there are restaurants that not allowed Black Americans. to eat or dining to in the restaurant, but some of them, but uh, they are allowed, but like they not uh, give the same attitude, like they were so rude to the black people in the restaurant. And then and in the old days, black Americans did not have same property as well as white Americans. It's truly heartbreaking. So in the modern days, like in the Disney films, the cartoons from the cartoons, and they make the real actions, like for example in character in Disney in cartoon, like Ariel is white long hair, but the action film is they choose actress that has like not white skinned, and she has curly hair, not she's not same Ariel in the cartoon. This is make pro and cons between based on them. And also, what actions can stop racism towards black Americans? Like there are several ways. For example, systemic equality by addressing the root causes of racism in America. This includes policies, law, and practices that disempower and disenfranchise black people while maintaining advantages for white people. Another is legislation and policy change. Advocate for legislation and policy changes that promote equality and address systemic racism. This includes measures to address housing discriminations, employment discriminations, and voter suppressions. We also should give educations and awareness. We have to promote educations and awareness about the history of racism in America and its ongoing impacts, like the impact that the black Americans feel until now. This includes teaching about the experiences of black Americans and the systemic inequalities that persist today. We also have to make community engagement, like we should engage communities, particularly those most affected by racism, in the fight against systemic racism. This includes working with organizations, activists, and community leaders to address local issues and promote change. We can also addressing racism in organizations, work to address racism in organizations like in the workplace, educations, and other institutions. This includes implementing policies and practices that promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as addressing the systemic racism that can persist even in colorblind policies. I think it's enough for me. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.